I probably should have recorded this pre-roll earlier today. Literally just woken up from a snooze on my little one's bed. Mildly confused, but showing up anyway. And honestly, maybe that's where the real power of creativity lies, just showing up. This week's episode is a continuation of the conversation I had a few months back with the brilliant Sarah McDowell, the co-host of the SEO Mindset podcast. We go right back to where it all began, and she very gently and very successfully encourages me to open up about taking the road less travelled. It's definitely a conversation of two halves: laughter, vulnerability, and the kind of unexpected insights that come from starting before you feel like any kind of expert. Have we met? I also share a little bit about what's ahead, so how the podcast and this growing creative space continues to evolve. There's also some merchandise coming, created in collaboration with Laura from Mum Rain or Shine. She came round a couple of weeks ago and we played around with a few designs, and I'm really excited about what we are about to launch. So some of you will be getting a surprise in the post soon, and there is a Christmas giveaway coming soon. So a soft launch for some exclusive bits. And, drumroll please, tomorrow is the very first Lost and Found workshop. Thank you to everybody who shared and signed up. We start at 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, and you'll get the chance to talk with the wonderful Dr. Stacey Moon Tracy about her work as a playwright and the up-and-coming tour of critical care. The second part of the workshop will be an opportunity for you to delve into some creative writing exercises to help you make sense of your own memories and your lived experiences. You are in very good hands. I can't wait to see you there. There'll also be a new Substack post on Wednesday. Hopefully I'll be able to schedule it on time, following a conversation with Bex Fisher from Homeshaped. Without further ado, let's get to this week's episode. And remember to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss what's coming up next. All right, let's get to the episode.
I remember going on a bit of a rabbit hole with breathing.
And now you just can't stop. What do you mean you went down a rabbit hole?
Oh dear. Sorry, breathing exercises, breath work. It's not just breathing. But no, this makes a good point. We take breathing for granted because we're like, we just breathe. That's what we do every day. Because I was looking at ways when I was like nervous during my first talk, like things that I could do to calm myself down. And there was a lot of certain breath work, so where your inhale is shorter than your exhale. There's things like the lion breath, if you want to feel strong and
the
powerful.
lion breath.
Yeah, and I remember just being like, wow, this is a whole new world of breathing, which sounds daft, but yeah.
I mean, you've recently come back from a holiday that had been postponed for lots of different reasons, which you don't necessarily need to go into, but...
I mean, I'm happy to. We're not keeping anything secret.
No, well, this is it. I love the transparency. But you clearly just needed a rest. You needed to reconnect.
Yeah, so this holiday was a long time coming because 2024 was a tester. It was, some things happened, and yeah, it got to a point where it was like, surely not another thing, and then something else would happen. So 2024, we had some lovely moments in 2024, but there was definitely some tricky parts. And one of those tricky parts was my fiance. Fiance. Tash. She got really poorly last year, and they still don't know quite what happened. So something neurological, but she basically had to learn to walk again. And she still struggles with certain things nowadays, but we were meant to go on this holiday last year, and we kept having to postpone because Tash wasn't well enough. And then it got to a point where we kept postponing it, where we were like, let's take some pressure off ourselves and we'll just go next year. That's fine. And And so the fact that the holiday actually happened this year, a couple of weeks ago, we went to Crete, lovely place. And for those reasons, it was extra special as well, because it was a holiday that was a long time coming. And it also, getting a bit deep, feel a bit emotional, but like I just felt so proud and happy for Tash as well, because she'd gotten herself to a point where she was well enough to go on this holiday, and we took a wheelchair with her, but she only really needed it for the airport. She was getting about on her crutches and stuff, and but it was definitely so obviously lots of different reasons why Tash got poorly and stuff, but one of the things was, I think she pushed her body and herself, her physical, emotional state, to the limit, and her body just broke and just physically couldn't take anymore. So it's kind of, and I'm still like, it is tricky, isn't it? Because we all push ourselves to the limit, and it's not until we physically can't do something. But from that moment, like, because obviously Tash has to pace herself because,
Yeah.
But it has got me a bit more mindful and making sure that I'm not always go, and making sure that like once a month I block out a weekend where there is no plans. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. But the holiday was just so lovely because obviously it had a deeper meaning for that reason anyway. But it was just so nice to switch off, because me and Tash are both like, we run our own businesses. We have a shop, and or a creative hub, should I say? It's not really a shop because you can't come and like
buy your tea bags.
I mean, it might give Tash an idea. She will start selling tea bags. You could definitely tell two ADHD spicy people have come together and tried to, yeah. But anyway, it was lovely because we both switched off. We didn't think about work. Didn't take my laptop. I told all my clients, you're not going to be able to get in touch with me. And we just had fun, explored. Didn't have to set an alarm. Well, we set an alarm once, but that was because we went for a day trip, which was very, very lovely and cultural, and we got to learn a lot of things. But that was like, you're just doing things at our pace, and do you know what I mean? So it was so lovely. So yeah.
Good. I'm glad. And do you feel like you've come back with more sort of ideas?
Yes.
You said that you already have loads of ideas, but where is the SEO Mindset podcast growing now? Where do you want to take it?
Good question. And I also want to ask, I feel as well, like we should save some time for me to ask you some questions about
That's all good.
the podcast,
Yeah.
and for this 50th episode, like
it's very relaxed. I'm just going to switch the kitchen light on. I will obviously edit this out.
Keep it in. It's authentic and raw.
I mean, you can see whatever that is. Oh, it's a tea towel. Hang on. I mean, one thing I would say is, whilst the conservatory is or was a space for me to dump all of my stuff, it's not overly practical because it's so hot.
It must be.
It's so hot, and it's like falling down. But we don't have anywhere else in the house at the moment that can house the podcast. I know that you've got the studio, obviously, which is very special because it means that you can actually do so much more, but you still record in where you are now, don't you?
Yeah, and I actually came up in conversation, and because the studio is a relatively new thing, because it's been live. We've had it for a year, but I've been podcasting since 2018. So it's a habit thing for me, like, because I've got myself set up and I've got my home recording studio. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
totally.
Like, I should go and use the studio more, definitely. But yeah, I mean, it's not even that far away from me either. It's like 10 minutes, but it's just a habit thing for me. I'm just so used to this space. But yeah, I should. But you asked me, where is the SEO mindset going? So we've been going for 3 years, and I think when we first started, it was just, we just started it to see what would happen. Like, so basically, because what's quite funny is, I swear I've not done anything wrong here, but I always have a podcast with someone else,
Yes.
co-host, and then they will podcast break up with me. Not like the friendship or anything like that, but they'll get to a point where they're like, they can't do the podcast anymore, or they're focusing on something else. Whereas I think I will always have a podcast. So what's quite funny is, every time, it's going to sound lame, every time one podcast door shuts, another one opens,
Yeah.
which is lovely. So yeah, so a podcast that I was doing with someone else naturally came to an end, and I basically, because it was when I was toying with the idea of going freelance and doing some podcast coaching and consultancy. So I'm part of a community, Women in Tech SEO, fabulous community, founded by a truly legendary person called Areej Abu Ali. She does amazing things for the space, especially women in the tech SEO space. And I've derailed myself. Where am I going? So that came. So yes, I was part of this community, and I basically posted in the community, if anyone wants to start a podcast, like, pick my brains. I've been doing it for this long, and I want to start helping people, and I want to. Do you know what I mean? And Tasmin, my co-host of the SEO Mindset, reached out to me. And she originally was thinking about the idea of doing a poetry podcast. And I still think she should. But that was like what she did on the side, a bit of poetry. But then we just got chatting, and like, there was like a bit of chemistry there, or we just kind of clicked and it was easy. And we just got chatting, and we just realized that in the community, there's lots of people talking about mental health, career, personal growth in relation to like SEO, like burnout, imposter syndrome, creativity. We've probably had an episode on, but at the time, there wasn't a specific podcast. You're getting the whole backstory now, sorry. There wasn't a podcast that specifically focused on mental health, personal development, career development, and all of that stuff. There wasn't a specific one for the SEO community. There was SEO podcasts who would tell you how to do certain things in SEO, and they'd have an odd episode about this. So we kind of found a gap. We kind of found a niche. So we're like, toyed with the idea of doing it, and we had some chats about it, and I was like, let's just try it, Tasmin. Let's plan a couple of episodes, see how it goes. And yeah, like, so we always had a mission of really talking about those kind of topics to help and support people in the SEO industry, like talking about those topics. And even though we're like over 300 episodes, we still feel like we've scratched the surface. Like, there's just so much, and it's great. And we have awesome conversations, and people come on, and people are so open and transparent with us as well. So that's the reason that we started, because we wanted to try and support and help the community. And we also just wanted to see like where it went. And then we're at a point now where, so we're 3 years in, we've grown our numbers. So when we first started, we were getting like 50 to 100 downloads per month. Now we peaked at like 800 a month. So we've grown it. We've also monetized it. So we've managed to get people to sponsor it, and we've got one-off donations as well from our listeners. We also do the live podcast now, which is again another bow to that. Yeah, and where's it going? So I've never really been a big planner. You know how some people like a plan or a structure, or they're like, okay, this is the 3, 5, 10-year plan. There hasn't really been a plan, and I've just enjoyed the creative process of running and growing the podcast. But we are now getting to a point where we do want to be more intentional, and we've started to like think of, okay, how can we grow this? What can we develop this into? And there's ideas about sort of being more helpful. So looking into like memberships and offering more value and more support in some capacity. We do the live podcast when Brighton SEO happens, but we're wanting to like venture out into other places. And actually what's quite interesting is there's a few conferences across the globe that have like reached out to us to like take it there and stuff.
That's exciting.
So there's no sort of, obviously we've got like we're more intentional now. We have strategy days and we try and put like plans, okay, like, because obviously having a podcast costs money, time and resource.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be lovely to be able to not only cover the costs of having a podcast, so for the equipment, the recording, subscriptions, the podcast hosting subscriptions, but do you know what? Like, we put a lot of time and effort, and it is hard work. Like, we enjoy doing it, but if we can start to get some money, like, do you know what I mean? So I realised that was, again, a very long-winded answer for
That's okay.
Yeah.
As Anna Xavier always says, she said on her episode once, she was like, I am a podcaster, therefore I am not succinct.
I love Anna Xavier. She's a good egg.
I've really enjoyed listening to her episodes. Especially when I'm just driving to and from work, I don't always listen to the whole of the episodes. I just kind of dip in and out, which is again another reason why I love like recording podcasts, because people can just take what they can from it, and it doesn't have to be the whole episode. I mean, ideally I would like you to listen to the whole of the episode. However, sometimes it's just not feasible because life. But yeah, she's I think she's doing a bit more sort of conference work as well now. I know she was did you see her at the podcast show in London?
Yeah.
See, I really wanted to go to that, but I just, because of work, I couldn't, but maybe next year.
It is a good conference. But I'm dying to ask you some questions, because this is the episode to celebrate you reaching 50 episodes, which, is no easy feat with the stats that I shared earlier. So congratulations.
Thank
you. I feel a bit honoured that you've asked me to be on the 50th episode. So thank you.
That's all right.
You're pulling a face, Lucy, but it's a special moment.
I'm pulling a face because, you are the only person for me to think about asking to be on the 50th episode, because it's because of you that I am here, in the sense that if I hadn't have gone to the party, and if I had, I was so nervous about going to that party. It wasn't even a party for adults. It was a children's party. But the thing is, like, because of COVID, and that really impacted me and my social scene when I had Oscar, and therefore I didn't know how to be in social situations for such a long time with my child, because all of the clubs and the classes and the mummy groups and things like that, they just weren't part of my maternity leave, and so I was really anxious, and I didn't really know many people there either. But I remember you walking into the party, and I'm thinking, she looks friendly. I'm gonna smile and chat to her, and then and I remember asking, so what do you do? And you said a podcast host, and I was like, really? Is that a thing? And I was like, okay. But then we chatted for a little bit, and then I asked your sister for your number. I was like, do you think I could have Sarah's number? And I honestly, I hadn't even thought, oh, I'm going to start a podcast. If you remember, I was at a dance class, and literally just
Yes.
before the class started, I messaged you and said, I'm thinking of just doing something. What do you think? And you were like, yeah, let's just have a chat about it.
Yeah.
And then the 6-week course which wasn't really 6 weeks, let's be honest. It was a little bit longer because I kept going, oh, I'm really sorry, but I've got this meeting, or I'm really sorry, but I've got to do this.
Life happens.
Life happened.
Life happens.
So yeah, that 6 weeks was really interesting. It was a really interesting process to go through in terms of like branding and the name of the podcast. And, you guided me through that whole planning stage so brilliantly.
Well, thank you. Thank you. But I mean, A-star student. So, but no, thank you. I'm very appreciative of that feedback. So that's lovely to hear. But like 50 episodes in, do you feel proud?
I do feel really proud. I do feel really proud of myself. Because I don't tend to stick at things.
Ah.
I get really bored. And I get obsessive about things.
Okay.
But the obsessions don't tend to last very long.
Short-lived.
Very. Because I'm always on to the next shiny thing. But there is so much potential, I think, with podcasting, with the wilderness of creativity. I feel that there is so much potential there for me to grow and to upskill and potentially explore other avenues in terms of my career. But also it's mine, like it belongs to me. And obviously when we started working together, I told you that I was pregnant, and it was all very exciting, and then we lost it. And so the podcast genuinely has been something to take my mind off that. And it's like I'm nurturing this thing that I couldn't bring into the world. And so I'm taking care of it, and I'm letting it nourish me as well. So it has been a therapy for me. But yeah, I just think it's really exciting. And I think people like it.
Of course they do. Of course they do. And it's so, like, obviously, there are no words that I'm really sorry about that. But that situation, and I can't, but it's hearing you saying that this gave you something to focus
Yes.
on and nurture I don't like that got me in the feels. So I just want to. I wish we were in person because I'd give you a hug, I'd give you a squeeze. But yeah, and it is really exciting, and I'm so glad that you, like you do feel proud because you should feel proud because you took an idea and you decided to run with it, which is ballsy in itself. So pat on the back. What has been the most surprising thing for you whilst doing the podcast? Does anything sort of spring to mind?
I think the most surprising thing is my guests' generosity of sharing their story with me. And I'm not saying this in a kind of like derogatory way, but I'm not a known host in any way. I'm just somebody who's doing a podcast in my conservatory. But
A very sweaty,
very, very hot, sweaty place.
conservatory.
But it surprised me that people were sort of reaching out to me and saying, "Oh, I'd love to chat to you about my story," and that's been really surprising. I'm quite surprised with how I've managed to make all the technology work because I'm not very technical, to be honest. Like the things that you
I don't think you can say that now, though.
No, but the things that you showed me in those initial sessions of like Audacity and Captivate and this, that, and the other, like even though I still don't do a lot of the stuff that you told me because I need time to embed it in the practice, if that makes sense. But I still manage to schedule episodes. I can, book a guest. I can, if I'm having issues with Riverside, I know where to go, who to speak to. I've started to kind of link up YouTube, like we did a YouTube, setting up the YouTube channel, like all of these little aspects of the podcast I have managed to bring together with your help and then sustain those things as well. That's quite hard because there's, like you said at the start, there's so many moving parts.
And I just want to, something that's come into my brain here. No one is born an expert. No one, do you know what I mean? Like, but I remember the first time that I saw Audacity and it's overwhelming. The first time that I decided to do a podcast, it is overwhelming. And I think, again, it's that inner critic because you forget that there's a learning curve. There's a learning process. Like, think about when you're babies, you have to learn how to walk. You have to learn how to talk. I don't know why I said it like that. That should be like a little jingle. There you
I'm
go,
going to do something with that, just so you know.
You got to learn
how to what?
how to walk.
Learn how to talk. It's going to sound great with a little sort of drum and bass.
My £5 singing lessons when I was a kid have come in handy. Again, I roped my friend in to do those singing lessons. Or did she rope me in? There was a really funny song that we used to have to sing called Salami Blues.
Oh, I need to hear this now.
No. Salami Blues.
There we go. I knew you'd do it.
I think there was a line about, I need a sandwich. Make me a sandwich.
It sounds terrible.
Salami.
Oh god.
Oh god.
I like bumblebee tuna. I like bumblebee tuna. That's another sandwich song.
Bumblebee.
I'd like a sandwich made with bumblebees.
Stop. Got a bit hot. Anyway.
I don't know why you brought that up.
Oh, I know why. Because you were saying you had to learn how to do all this stuff.
Yes, that's it.
And like, And I was just saying that I'm not going to do it again. Like anything that is. I could just hear you doing it.
Oh dear. It's very late. What time is it?
I mean, we've been chatting for over an hour. You've gone delusional.
Oh,
But anyway,
yes.
like, you've got to be kind to yourself, and it's a learning process. And you even weren't very kind to yourself when you were like, I'm still not doing all the stuff. Like,
I
but
know.
you are. And again, I mean, I do it to myself, and I'm a little bit impatient.
Yes, I am.
But you have to, it's the learning process. Like, of course, you're not going to know. If you're doing something for the first time, something's going to be overwhelming.
I know, but now I'm just thinking of all those meetings that we used to have. And then I used to say, oh, I'm really sorry. What am I doing? Why can I see two screens? And you going, have you stopped sharing your screen? Or the amount of times that you've told me about Amy.
Who the F is Amy? I know
And I
who
still don't use
Captivate.
it.
I thought you were going to say still don't know her.
I still don't know how to do it properly. I need you to show
We
me.
need some more sessions, Lucy.
Oh God, this is hilarious. Oh,
Anyway,
yes.
and my last question to you
Yes.
is,
Let's get
what's-
serious.
let's get serious. Breath work.
Go on.
Remember how to breathe.
It's all right, I'll edit all this out.
What's next in store for you? Where do you want to? Where do you want to go?
Well, a little bit like you, I don't really have a plan. I mean, I put something out on my Instagram the other day, and it was like, if you see me talking to myself, we're having a staff meeting. It's literally just me. So if I had a strategic day, I'd be like, what do you think, Lucy? I don't know. What do you think? But in all seriousness,
Just, I could imagine you having like little props that you could put on as your cheat.
oh God.
And then do you remember those glasses
Yeah.
with the big nose and moustache?
Oh my God, I've actually got some of those. I don't even know where they are. They're normally in here. Oh, I need to find them. They are literally
Not right now. Go on,
Sorry.
stay on.
Sorry.
Stay on track.
I launched the Substack newsletter because
Yes.
I've been thinking about it for such a long time. And with work and various other things, I just couldn't get my arse in gear, basically. And there was a lot of fear around, well, everybody's on Substack. Am I too late? Am I just following the crowd? I actually went back to a conversation and some feedback that I had from a friend, Helen, and she said to me, are you going to be doing like journals or like some resources and things like that, templates? Because I would love to be able to listen to the episode and then have like some journal prompts that go with the episode. So that sort of idea has been lurking in the background for such a long time. And I don't have time at the moment to create templates or a hard copy of a journal. However, Substack, the newsletter, is going to be effectively that. Again, I don't know how often I'm going to release the newsletter. At the moment, I'm thinking it's probably going to be weekly, because just to gain the momentum, because when I launched the podcast of the summer series, and that really helped. So if I think of doing sort of weekly newsletters that just start to unpick the episodes that have already been and gone, so like series 1, but drawing in other episodes. So for example, I've just written the article about the inner critic, and then I've linked 3 other episodes that the listeners can then go and listen to. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So the newsletter is definitely an area that I'm going to try and develop. And I'm also going to invite contributions from other people as well. So guests, but listeners as well. So it becomes more of a collaboration. I did have a meeting with Laura, who is the founder of Mum Rain or Shine. She has a Etsy shop. She creates products, t-shirts, tote bags, cards, all sorts of things. And recently I bought a Cricut machine. Again, I had no idea of what I was going to do, other than I thought I could maybe start creating some merchandise to go alongside the podcast.
Love a bit of merch.
But the thing that Laura had suggested was, well, if you're going to start doing merchandise, then why don't you think about maybe giving the logo a little bit of a refresh? So that's kind of in the pipeline, because then the logo will be mine, so to speak, because obviously, yes, I did create that logo, bringing different elements together, but Laura's going to kind of just tidy it up a little bit, simplify it perhaps, and then that is going to be plastered everywhere. And then the YouTube channel, sorry, I'm waffling now, but the YouTube channel is also something that I'd like to grow. At the moment, I'm posting shorts, so behind the scenes, or like little sound bites of up and coming episodes, but I think I would like to start learning how to edit video, so that I can post full video of the podcast to YouTube, so that people can see how ridiculous I can be. But yeah, I need to do a little bit of research, and maybe I need to sit down with somebody and look at how I can edit video in a way that feels fresh and engaging. So if anyone out there knows of anyone that can help me with some video editing, that would be lovely.
I enjoyed seeing your brain and your thought process, and yeah, like it makes me laugh because we both said, "Oh, there's never much of a plan," and then we tell a plan that we both got. But yeah, but no, yeah, like it's just so, like I just think, I mean, if there's anyone listening to this podcast right now, I just really urge you, if you've got an idea and it's always popped into your brain like, oh, I want to do a podcast, I want to do this thing. It's much better trying something and not liking it than thinking, what if? And I am so grateful that I started my very first podcast back in the day, because it's taken me on a wonderful journey. And now I am a freelance podcast producer with my own studio that I hire out, and I get to help people like yourself, Lucy, and I get to help other people who, most of the time, I just feel like I'm a cheerleader, because I talk to so many people and I'm like, you'd be cracking on a podcast. Like you've got the passion, you've got the energy, you're good at storytelling, but for whatever reason, and sadly, I think it is a female thing as well, because we get into our heads and like think, oh, can't do that. Like what? And I've heard all the fears, like the equipment and software overwhelm. What if no one cares about what I'm saying? What if I run out of things to say? What? And again, that is just that primitive brain. That is that brain coming in, thinking all these negative thoughts. Right, just go for it, gang.
that's it for this week's conversation. Thank you so much for listening. It's so funny to think that this episode was actually recorded back in July, and revisiting it now feels like opening like a little time capsule. We talked about the surprises of podcasting and how action creates momentum, and how somehow I've managed to put something out there and do the thing, even when it felt messy or uncertain. If anything, I hope that this part of the conversation reminds you that you don't need to feel ready to begin. Before you go, I thought I would leave you with a few reflective questions inspired by today's episode. So, where is self-doubt holding you back from taking a small but meaningful step in your creative business or venture? How does creativity show up for you in your everyday life beyond the bigger projects? Where might slowing down allow you to grow more gently? And finally, what story have you been putting out into the world even without realising it? We've got some brilliant guests coming up on the podcast. We've got Jenny Lee Hodgkins from Your Creative Chord, Natalia from Wild and Free by the Sea, who will be sharing an incredible story of survival. You won't want to miss it. And Nadine Pitton, who will be joining us for an open, insightful conversation about the intersection of creativity and sex. Risk, vulnerability, flow, and why it is not always about the end result. Sometimes it's the foreplay that counts. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do take a moment to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who might need a little creative nudge today. Your support genuinely helps this space to grow. Until next time, keep showing up and stay wild.